All right, everyone, so now that we've talked about adding and subtracting decimals, let's talk about multiplying and dividing them. Now, we're not going to lay any of these out on a number line, but we're still going to take two approaches as we solve these problems. First, we're going to estimate the result, and then we're going to solve the problems, hopefully giving you some strategies along the way. Now, before we get started, let's review what happens when we multiply and divide any type of number. So for this particular example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out. Anything sort of with a positive sign in between the brackets like that, that is a positive number. That's with a plus sign. And for me, anytime I lay something out with parentheses and then a negative sign, that's a negative number, all right? That's just short form that I use. Ooh, my phone's ringing, sorry. And so those are the short forms I use. Not everyone uses it, but that's okay. That'll help you sort of know what I'm saying. So here's my question. When you multiply a positive and a positive number, you get a positive number. Same thing if you, let's do it this way. If you, ooh, that's yellow, that's hard to see. If you take a positive number and you divide it by a positive number, what number do you get? Fill it in the, just answer the question here. Do you get a positive number or a negative number? Well, a positive divided by a positive gives us a positive number. So a positive times a positive gives us a positive divided by a positive gives us a positive, all right? Now, what happens if we take a negative multiplied by a negative number? What do we get? Take the guess below. All right, so if we take a negative number and multiply it by a negative number, we also get a positive number. So positive and positive gives us a positive, negative and negative gives us a positive. So the last final combination here is if we have a positive and we multiply it by a negative, what do we get? All right, if you guessed a negative number, you are absolutely correct. So when you have two of the same thing, a positive and a positive, so positive multiplied by a positive, a negative multiplied by a negative, or you could divide them as well, you end up with a positive. If you have two opposites, a positive and a negative, and you multiply or divide them together, you are going to get a negative. So with that in mind, let's look at our first example. Now, we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We are going to multiply, or we're going to estimate, and then we are going to calculate. So let's estimate this one. Here's question number one. 0.45. What is this guy close to? Go ahead, fill in the blank here. All right, so when I'm going here, I'm going to estimate this is close to 0.5. If you chose to say, I don't know, if you chose to say 1, that's probably a little too far away. 0 probably doesn't help us here. So I'm going to estimate 0.5, and I'm going to say 1.2 is, well, what would you say? What would you say 1.2, negative 1.2 is close to? Now, I'm going to say it's close to negative 1. So we're ready to make our estimate here at 0.5 times 1 is 0.5. All right, nothing changes there. Now, we have a positive times a negative. So when we've got two of the opposite, we are going to end up with a negative 0.5. That's my estimate. Now, we can move on to solving it. So when we go to solve it, we're going to punch it into our calculator exactly as we see it. Oops, wrong one. What were you guys watching there? There we go. Hopefully you guys were watching the right thing there, and I don't have to re-record it. But let's go ahead and punch this into our calculator. So we're going 0.45. Okay, we're going with our original equation here. 0.45 times a negative 1.2. You could also close this off in brackets if you wanted, so you could put parentheses on either side. I'm okay to put it in just like this for now. I'm going to hit enter, and the answer that I get is negative 0.54. So negative 0.54. So that's really close to my estimate. So really simple, that's all we're going to do. We're just going to plug it into our calculator exactly as it says, making sure that we keep in mind that some of these numbers are negative and we use our negative button. All right, let's do another example here. Here's our second example. switch back to here. All right, so we've got negative 2.3 divided by 0.25. So let's go ahead and estimate. What's your guess for this particular question? What are we going to estimate negative 2.3 to be close to? Go ahead. All right, so I'm going to put this close to negative 2. And that's going to be divided by, what are you going to put? 0.25. Negative 0.25. What are you going to put that close to? All right, so I'm going to put it close to negative 0.2. Now, the reason I do that is these two numbers are really nice. If I just take negative 2 divided by negative 0.2, I get 10. Remember, we've got a negative number times a negative number. That's going to give us, divided by a negative number. That's going to give us a positive number. So my answer is approximately 10. So let's go ahead and calculate it. We're going to go over here to the calculator. We're going to punch this in. Negative 2 divided by, let's do the actual one. Negative 2.3 divided by negative 0.25. Now plug that into your calculator. What do you get? All right, so I'm going to hit enter and I get 9.2. So the answer I get for this one is 9.2. That's really close to what I estimated there, and it's a positive number. So hopefully you got that answer. So let's give this a try. In Google Classroom, try the multiplying and dividing decimals work. Let me know if you need any help or you get stuck, because I want to help you get unstuck.